Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Taurus energy, and we're going to look at it from a couple different perspectives because people have free will. Some people harness high vibe. Whoa, the cards flew off this table. Some people harness high vibe Taurus energy. The healing light card when flying off the table. Some people are refusing to heal. And we can't make people heal. We can't make people deal with the things they would prefer to keep hidden in the dark. So maybe we're going to limit this reading to... I don't know. Well, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, some people harness high vibe Taurus energy. Some people harness a more worldly focused Taurus energy. Some people harness a more shadowy Taurus energy. You know, the high vibe people could be off the table. The healing light people that flew off the table. For some people, those people are no longer an option for some people. And some of the people either are aware of that or are not aware of that. Okay. You know, Taurus energy, besides being human beings born under the zodiac sign of Taurus, or, you know, Taurus, my interpretation is that Taurus is earth sign energy, but it has to do with what we put work and effort into in the world. It is fixed sign energy. It can be hard to change. It can be hard to budge. And so it also has to do with our philosophy of life. And we go through life and we come to these different conclusions about how we view life. And for us to try to change other people's philosophy of life can be very hard. So instead of trying to change people's philosophy of life, how about we accept that people are the way they are and we quit trying to change people? We treat people with love and respect. If we already know we don't like to be in a relationship with people who have certain traits and characteristics, we leave them to God to keep working with. You know, to make them grow up or mature themselves or get out of their defensiveness or get out of their ego. But, you know, we all go probably through a phase of thinking we can change people. Love can change people, but until people make the free will choice to grow up or mature themselves or heal, we wish them peace until they do see the truth themselves and change their philosophy of life to be more just and fair and authentic and loving. Okay. Overarching reason for the reading is fragmented energy. Underneath that is the fear card. Love is what helps unify us. Otherwise, we're in like scattered, fragmented energy. You know, this year, this day, I'm mad. I'm going to take action because I'm mad. I haven't learned to love myself, to balance myself, to stay like organized and unified by love. You know, my heart's running my life today. My ego's running my life tomorrow. My lustful nature's running my life the next day. You know, that's kind of what scattered energy is. People who still have a lot of lessons to learn. And they haven't learned to deal with some of their fears and insecurities from love, to love themselves, to be more unified and whole within themselves, so that when they make decisions taking all aspects of themselves into consideration and making good decisions in their life to move, valuing all aspects of themselves. I'm an emotional human being. I need to respect my emotions. I'm an inspired, passionate person. I need to take into account my inspired, passionate nature. I do have these ways of viewing life and my truth. I need to take my truth into consideration. Some people don't want to do that work because that does require to maybe figure out, well, why do I let my heart run my life? Why do I let my worldly nature run my life? Why do I live more from my mind than my heart? Why do I make the things of the world or my ego or my image so important over being more unified? What is it that I fear? And the biggest fear can just be to be hurt by love. So I don't want to see the truth that it's supposed to be about love. I might like to be in more scattered energy because then I don't have to do the work to love myself and I can just do whatever the hell I want. Some people have dealt with people like that and they could be afraid of going back into the water. The water, this person's wearing black when it's a feminine figure. It can talk about how we think and feel. We're kind of scared to go back into the emotional realm. In tarot, the water represents the emotional, intuitive realm. We could have dealt with some people that were very not who we thought they were. Not very unified by love. So then it can make us afraid to go back into the water again. But the thing is, we were drawn and attracted to people because we had lessons to learn from them. We needed to learn that some people can present themselves as harnessing high vibe Taurus energy, that they're this grounded, stable pillar of society who acts with character and integrity. And then we find out that was just an illusion. That was just one of their many masks that they wear. The puzzle pieces also kind of remind me of narcissists, people who oh, I've learned something. Is that how people act? Okay, I'm going to incorporate that into my facial mask of how I now present myself. And they're just a construct of, there's no authentic person inside because they're just made up of these bits and pieces that they took from everyone else. Oh, do people like it when people act like that? Okay, yep, I'm going to incorporate that into how I act and behave moving forward. And it's all this thing of trying to follow this construct, living more from their mind than their heart. Is this how I'm supposed to present myself? Okay, let me put that into my Taurus philosophy of life. Oh, am I supposed to wear that? Okay, let me put that into my Taurus philosophy of life. Oh, am I supposed to talk and speak like that? Okay, let me, we all kind of learn lessons in life about how to get along with people. Some people, it's not just an act. They really are oh, you're supposed to treat people in a just and fair way. They don't oh, I'm just going to act like a just and fair person. I'm going to wrap my brain around that of what does it mean to be a just and fair person. Anyway, we've met some people and dealt with some people, and it can make us scared to go get in relationships with other people. But I think God does kind of keep things in balance, the scales of justice, and we live in a world of duality. Things can kind of get tipped out of balance a little bit, and that's when big things happen in the world because things need to change. But I think God, in general, people have free will, and because in the, what's it called, just the thing of dispersion, the bell curve, most people are going to not be at the outlying extremes. Most people are going to be, I don't know what percentage it would be, but most people are going to be in the bulk area. And then we have the people on the outliers like narcissists and atrocious people we read about in the newspaper. The bulk of the people are trying to decide what is their truth. Some people, roughly probably 50% of the people I think at any given time are aligned with their more hopeful, believing nature and love, and 50% of the people at any given time can be aligned with their more worldly view of life and more self-interest or defensive view of life. And then there's the people that are still going back and forth trying to decide. We learn valuable lessons that is going to be beneficial for us to get our divine inheritance, what God wants us to have, but we couldn't be the naive, gullible people we were before. And we had to learn that not everybody's interested in love. Some people are takers, some people are social climbers, some people are manipulators, and we needed to learn to listen more to our intuition, because I think our intuition was given to us a gift, but, in our worldly nature, we want what we want. And no, I'm attracted to that. No, I don't care. I want these things. I'm going to go get in a relationship with this person anyway. And it probably didn't turn out the way we wanted, and it kind of could have seemed to have practically tried to blow our life apart. And then we have to do all that work in our Taurus energy to put all the pieces back together of our life again and heal and mourn the grief and the sorrow that we went through, and the fact that some people that we could have love for weren't choosing to do the work within themselves to heal and grow and mature themselves. And then we listen to our intuition and love to guide our decisions about who we move forward with in the future. And the people who are still operating more from their mind than their heart and their ego and their fear, they're going to still not be willing to listen to their intuition. They've probably went through life experiences where things didn't work out the way they wanted, and because of that, now they don't dare listen to their intuition anymore. We've all kind of been there too, right? Where you tell your friends, you need to pick my next person I go out with because apparently my picker is off. But our picker wasn't off. We were drawn and attracted to certain people because there was valuable lessons to learn from that life experience. Did I listen to my intuition, or did I ignore it and do it anyway? Lesson learned. Listen to your intuition next time. Did we know people weren't on the same page as us, but we got in a relationship with them anyway? Lesson learned. Next time we meet someone who we know isn't on the same page as us, don't keep getting in a relationship with them. Did I make a decision out of fear and insecurity and codependency? Do not make decisions out of fear and codependency next time. Did I see that that person had traits and qualities and characteristics that are not conducive to a deep, authentic, loving, warm relationship? Yes. Okay, don't get in a relationship with people who seem to have those traits and characteristics and ways of viewing life next time. If we're willing to take the lessons that we learned, and we know that we are more clear about our truth, and we know that we're not making decisions out of pride or ego or fear or insecurity, we're planting good seeds, and we also don't give our good seeds to people who aren't on the same page as us. We both have to be planting the same type of seeds: love, truth, character, integrity. And we listen to our intuition about it. So, maybe with scattered energy, fragmented energy, and with Taurus being about kind of our philosophy of life, there's things in our philosophy of life as we go through life, just like we did age 15, 18, 21 to 25, that some things need to be let go of. Ways of viewing life are more, that were fine, a way of viewing life that we had based on life experience we had, our maturity level, again, just like when we were age 15, 18, 21. But there's a time that we kind of relook at our philosophy of life. This could be all the rules and regulations that we live our life by. Where did they come from? We get imprinted upon by the world, by society, by our families, by culture. Which ones are really aligned with our truth? Which ones did we incorporate into our philosophy of life and the decisions we make? But we made that one at age 8 or age 15 or age 18, and now we're 35 or 40, Which ones did Uncle Bob or Aunt Sally put in there that, why the hell that's maybe based on life experiences they've had. What's my truth? And we have to go through this sifting sometimes to figure out what are the things I should let go of, because I'm older, more grown, more mature than I was before. I need to, and times change, the world changes. Am I going to realize kind of, am I going to stay stuck in a certain way of viewing life where I'm not willing to see things more from a more expanded perception, because times have changed, caveman days to today and the 1960s to today, a lot of things change in there. Am I willing to go with the flow of life, to let go of some outmoded ways of thinking that could be more based on fear or insecurity or pride or ego, or because it benefits me, but so I might not want to change it, but other people, or, it's like oppressive or confining or limiting. Some people want to hold on to an old way of being because it benefits them, but other people are not wanting to stay in relationship with them because it might benefit them, but it's not benefiting the other people. Is it just and fair? Are we treating other people and viewing other people and treating other people the way we like to be treated? Or do we, shadowy Taurus, can be, well, I don't want to change because it does benefit me to stay this way. It's like, fine, but you're going to have other people who don't want to be in a relationship with you. Shadowy Taurus can be stubborn and prideful and egotistical, or more materialistically motivated, or my way or the highway. And it's just like, oh my gosh, are we willing to go with the flow some? Are we willing to listen to our intuition and love? What is it that drives people's decisions? So that could be the overarching reason. People could be in relationships with people right now that things are, it's are we going to do this together, or are we going our separate ways? Are we on the same page, or are we not? Are we both willing to temper our fears and our insecurity and our pride and ego to move forward together, or are we not? And we do that with all sorts of people in our life. People at work, family, friends, romantic relationships. Some people will be too fearful to change. They'll keep repeating an old pattern. Other people will face their fears to say, I have lived my life a certain way. I have viewed life a certain way. And I think the only reason I'm not moving forward in life differently is because I have some fears and insecurities of going to the next phase of life. But my intuition could be telling me, if I don't move, it starts to wear down my whole foundation. Because high vibe energy is going with the flow, being independent of your more fearful, insecure, codependent nature to believe that you can. And you go to the next phase of life just like you did age 15 to age 18 to age 21. I think I can. I think I can. And you face your fears to go to that next phase of life. And if you don't, you keep trying to stay stuck in a way of living life that's kind of unnatural. Who's supposed to stay like a 15-year-old? Who's supposed to stay like an 18-year-old all their life? We're meant to grow and change and mature over time. But we can have fear of doing it. We could be codependent. We could really look to the world and be in our ego for them to define our worth and value instead of us defining our own worth and value. We could be codependent on other people that we don't want to become independent from. It will start to wear down your foundation because you're resisting going with the natural flow out of fear and insecurity, aligning with your more shadowy nature, and ultimately more shadowy energy is represented by the devil. The things that imprison us and enslave us and confine us and restrict us. It's not going to go well because God, life-giving energy, wants people to grow to their full potential. It's kind of like being an apple tree saying, no, 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 I'm 10 feet tall and I have 100 apples. I'm good. It's like, you were made to grow to 30 feet tall and make 1,000 apples. Like, no, 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 I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Why? And it starts to wear down the foundation of self. Because if you're not having hope and faith and belief and love and in yourself to keep growing and maturing yourself, you're probably tearing yourself down, and your fear and it's like an addiction. Whatever it is that stops you from moving forward becomes more and more consuming. It gets bigger. It's like, which dog do you feed? What do you feed yourself? So just like some people's fear grows and grows, some people's insecurities, some people's selfishness, some people's ego, some people's bossy, controlling nature. It gets worse and worse and worse because for some reason they're unwilling to change. Some people could be really seeing the truth now. I'm kind of viewing the scattered energy as kind of like a tower card. A foundation we built that we thought this is the way to live life. This is a safe and secure way to live my life and structure to stay within. They're afraid of leaving it. They could have rejected some loving, encouraging people in their life because they weren't aligning with that within themselves. They were aligning with their more, I have to have a certain status and image, or don't I have to control people? I don't think people will love me. So, I want to be in relationships, but then when I get in relationships and I'm in relationships with loving people, because of my fear and my insecurity, I sabotage the relationship. Some of the loving people already are no longer on the table, no longer an option. Some of those people, they're starting to see the truth of that. Because sometimes shadowy people can do hurtful, unkind things, hoping to cause other people fear and insecurity, and that those people won't keep loving and believing in themselves. Because we'd all like the job, the friendship, the relationship that we invest into work. And some of the shadowy people know that the people that were in their life love them. I know. I don't want to do life differently. I don't want to detach from anything. Anything that makes me feel safe, or these bossy or immature or self-centered ways of being in a relationship. Those things all make me feel safe. It's not a good way to be. It's not a stable way to be. It is not conducive to a long-term stable relationship, but some people just haven't seen the truth of that yet. And they thought, I know I'll do something in a shadowy way, so I bet those people won't love and believe in themselves, and I know they love me. I'll try to use the love that they have for me to manipulate them to stay. But for some, the high vibe people and loving people in their life face their fears and they move forward. They gave themselves the things they wish other people would have given them. They chose to love and believe in themselves every day, offer themselves compassion and forgiveness for the mistakes they've made in life, offer compassion and forgiveness to the people in their life. But they chose to be in life-giving energy and invest their time, energy, and effort into people who treated them with love and respect and kindness. Some of the people are just starting to realize it now. What's going on in Taurus energy? We have the teacher and great achievement. And the reason is because of family, friends, and guides. This would be energy in high vibe. The high vibe people have learned these lessons. They were willing to get out of their ego. They were willing to get out of their fear and insecurity to go to the next phase of life. And they're like at the next phase of life. They've learned lessons, got out of their ego, being willing to admit they had lessons to learn. They're moving forward in a creative, inspired way, letting love and intuition guide them. Some people who are in shadowy Taurus energy, the relationships they like to be in is where people view them as this wise, stable, grounded person that's victorious and successful in the world, and that people should be in relationship with them. But it is someone who maybe doesn't view life from a higher perspective. I'm like God, because shadowy Taurus energy is represented by the Hierophant. There's some people in the world who don't believe in a higher truth or power. They view themselves, if I have money and status and image, or I'm attractive, blah, 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 I'm like a god. And people should want to be in relationship with me because I present myself and have put in work and effort to maybe have stability or security or be attractive or whatever. I have this certain image and persona in the world that I've cultivated. People might view me as a very a successful, stable person. It's just that it's self-driven, not hope and faith and love driven, a higher truth. Their truth, it is themselves. And then when people end up getting in a relationship with them, some of these people only like to play that role in people's life. You know, you should want to come be in a relationship with me because it'll look victorious and successful, but I always like to be like the boss. I am the teacher, you are the student. And that's the dynamic of the relationship they like to be in. And that's how they like to move forward in a relationship. So the problem is they can get in relationships with people, and they might like to be in relationships with people who, to a degree, they don't feel like they have the status or the image or the attractiveness or, you know, whatever it is that they base themselves, what they stand upon. They could think that you don't quite have those things that they have, and that you'll stay in this more codependent energy. And that's them being in like their God Savior complex. Like, I have these things of the world, you want these things of the world, therefore I am, you know, it's not an equal give and take relationship. They are to be deferred to. They are a shadowy teacher. High vibe people are a high vibe Taurus Hierophant teacher, a spiritual leader in the world. They encourage other people to get to heal and grow and mature themselves, to love and believe in themselves, to move forward with them in an equal give and take relationship. And the other people are like, well, no, I like to present myself as being like that too. I just don't want them. I don't want it to become an equal give and take relationship. I like it where I'm like the one who's held in the position of being indulged in some way. So everybody's moving forward in the way that they're motivated to move forward, you know, just depending on what foundation they operate from. Some, you know, it's shadowy foundations of maybe more codependent on the world because they've made the world their God, their ego, their image. That's what's more important to them than truly aligning with their more hopeful, believing nature. So whatever foundation people align with, that is, and we're all going to learn lessons. That's why there's a key on either side. Nothing's wasted. Everybody's got different lessons to learn. Some people have learned some lessons that some other people haven't. They've learned to move away from some people who they could view as being immature or bossy or controlling or prideful or egotistical or self-centered. You know, because they don't align with that within themselves, and they don't want to be in relationships with people who are like that. They have kind of grown and matured themselves to be more just and fair and balanced and treating people the way they like to be treated than some other people. Everybody's going to move forward in the way that they view as victorious. Then we have this card not showing itself, and it has to do with victim mentality. So when a card isn't showing itself, people can move forward in relationships, but we might think that we harness this energy in the same way, but we don't. With some of the people we do, with some of the people we don't. And I guess maybe something that people piece. Because of victim mentality. Well, some people aren't at peace within themselves. They are in scattered energy. They do have these fears, these insecurities, codependent nature. Might want to move forward with some people because, as we all could have done in our life, because things didn't work out the way we wanted. The victim mentality is kind of like the Five of Pentacles, which is Taurus energy, that we can feel left out in the cold. And if we haven't learned to kind of do this work, a feminine figure, so that can talk about emotionally, we haven't learned how to emotionally kind of love and believe in ourselves to work through some of our fears and our insecurities about some things that hadn't worked out for us the way we had wanted. And this being a masculine figure can just mean that we're kind of in our ego, whether we're male or female. Some people, we've all been there, right? we've all gotten into things, basically attracted to some people who came into our life to teach us some lessons. And we thought we were going to move forward in something victorious. We thought we were all operating from the same foundation. And maybe kind of initially, based on the foundation we were living our life from and how we viewed life, maybe we're kind of were on the same page in a lot of ways. But then as time goes by, one person could have a lot of issues they don't deal with within themselves. The other person could have had issues that they previously had been dealing with. But then one person does start to emotionally do the work within themselves, to think about where they'd like to be. And kind of the mountain kind of reminds me of Virgo energy, because Virgo energy is about the hermit, where you take time alone to do this inner work, to shed light on some of the things that we've kind of kept hidden in the dark, that we could have buried beneath the surface. But we don't want those obstacles to block our path. We want to overcome. So some people, unbeknownst to some other people, were doing this work within themselves to work through some of those issues. And they probably looked at these different thoughts and belief systems that they had about themselves and about the world to kind of sift. It's like sifting the wheat from the chaff. The chaff is like the hard coat, kind of like not like a sunflower seed, but kind of as an analogy, like a sunflower seed over the sunflower kernel. But the chaff on wheat is much thinner and lighter, and it like slips off, kind of more like a snake skin, where snakes shed their skin. And you can have a bunch of wheat kernels that we use to make wheat for bread on the ground, and a lot of the things that the chaff that's laying there looks like a wheat kernel until you look at it much closer, because it's just the outer layer of skin that came off. So it's the exact same size, kind of has the coloring and everything. But until you look at it close enough, you realize that I guess we could look at it as maybe something that really isn't of much substance or value. And we kind of sift through the thoughts and ideas and belief systems, and when they were important to us, more important to us than they were at another time. And we kind of realize which ones we need to get rid of and keep the ones, the actual kernel of wheat that does have substance and value to it. And kind of you could look at the chaff, separating the wheat and the chaff, that the chaff is like an empty promise, a lie in a way. It looked like something that we should ingest and eat, but it has no nutritional value. So again, what are we feeding ourselves? What are we telling ourselves? What thoughts and emotions do we choose to sit in every day? And we have to realize that some of the people who came into our life that we wish were of more substance, that we wish were of more value in our life, that had been more loving or encouraging or supportive, maybe some of those people weren't. And, just to release them, chaff will fly in the wind. Just, and let the ones that aren't working together with you, and the thoughts and the emotions that we can choose to sift through, to let go of the ones that aren't loving and encouraging and supportive of ourselves and the people in our life who maybe aren't. And then we have a consciousness of lack, and that is a male figure, so that can kind of be us again in our ego with the victim mentality. And then emotionally, to have gratitude and the back and forth and the deception and the loss. The deception card is like the Seven of Swords. We have to work through our mental conflict about detaching from things we need to detach from, ways of viewing life that could be more fearful, immature, prideful, codependent. And it can take, it's really challenging, like in the Seven of Swords, because, you know, instead of continuing to kind of go back and forth on the teeter-totter, there could be, we all like to stay in our comfort zone because we know that. And then we can want to live our life a certain way, hang out with certain type of people, stay in relationships with certain type of people, because we know how to operate in that environment. But we could have already realized that, you know, those people aren't very balanced maybe within themselves, and they don't do this inner work to work through their issues, so they keep not operating from a foundation of love. And whatever it is that maybe manipulates them keeps manipulating them. And if we keep staying in a relationship with them, if that is like the third party in their life. We have free will. In our dualistic nature, what is going to be the truth of what guides our decisions? And theirs could be the world, or their ego, or their image, or their immature nature, their prideful nature, their defensive nature. And they might not want to see the truth, to be willing to give up anything, detach from anything, in order to live their life differently, to believe in themselves, believe in their dreams. Kind of like tethered to their more worldly nature instead of listening to their more intuitive, creative, inspired, loving nature. I've just got an alarm on my phone. To guide the decisions they make. So they keep being tethered to their more worldly view of life, egoic view of life, other people, the world. And they might have a dream, but they're unwilling to even though it could be destabilizing them. Even though some of the people they're hanging out with and aligning with in the world are unstable, ungrounded, being deceptive, being manipulative, because some people have love for the people that they have in their life, even if that person is a family member or a friend. It maybe isn't someone they can have a romantic, loving relationship come into reality with, but they're just codependent on those people for their sense of stability and security. And if becoming kind of more independent of those things or people in their life that make them feel safe and secure, and it could just be their own defensive nature, if you were to stay in a relationship with them, whatever it is that manipulates them, you have to let it manipulate you. And some of the high vibe people are like, no, I'm not going, because those things don't manipulate me. And I've done this work within myself to not let my fear or the world or other people manipulate me into not living my authentic life. High vibe energy is about being independent, to be authentically yourself in the world. And shadowy Taurus can be, you're supposed to conform to the world. This is how you're supposed to do things. This is how you're supposed to act. This is how you're supposed to dress. This is who you're supposed to hang out with. And it's, you know, who are all these people that make up these rules? It's like, you know what? Me and God make up the rules. And I listen to my intuition, you know, and you might want to make your life about conforming to the world and trying to get everybody to view you a certain way so you're accepted. Well, great. I hope you have a good time. I'm going to go live my authentic life. And even though I might be afraid, I'm not willing to stay where I'm at, because I've been there and there's no peace there. People are being trying to limit me and restrict me and confine me and oppress me and imprison me, using maybe the love that I have for them to do that, where they can't make a decision if they're willing to bring a dream into reality based on love. It's like, well, until you decide, I am going to move on, and I'm going to let you continue to go back and forth and not be able to decide, and maybe one day you will, maybe you won't. But in the meantime, I feel like the five, what is that card called? The Lost card. That would be like the Five of Cups. It's like, I feel like I'm missing an opportunity to work together with people who work together with me cooperatively from a place of love. Because you can't decide if you dare do love. Okay. And you have these people or this way of viewing life that makes you feel safe and secure and stable and grounded within yourself, well, then maybe we're just on different pages. But I need to be in relationships with people who are willing to step out of their comfort zone and listen to love and intuition to guide the decisions we make, where it's not like following a playbook. Well, no, this is how we act. No, I'm supposed to do this and you're supposed to do that, because that's the way I grew up, or that's the way it makes me feel safe and secure. It's like, how about we let love and intuition guide the decisions that we make? And we don't know where it's going, but we're just going to let love and intuition guide the decisions we make. No preconceived rule book that we have to follow. Who's willing to do that? And there's going to be some people in you high vibe people's lives that are going to do this work to move forward with you. And we can only work with the people who are willing to get balanced within themselves between their more worldly lack mentality nature that kind of wants to be in the driver's seat of their life, which also is like their ego, immature, prideful, bossy, controlling nature, and who's willing to work through, not give up on their dreams, and has hope and faith and belief and love, and going to do this work within themselves to sort through the way that they viewed life in their Taurus energy, to see what needs to be let go of and what is worth holding on to. And for some of you, some people, because of their more codependent nature, worldly nature, fearful nature, they weren't willing to choose the loving people in their life and to align with that within themselves. When you were in that, you could have seen the truth of it. And you saw, just like some other people are seeing right now, that some of the people in their life are like, no, 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 I don't want to do that. I want to keep doing this. And eventually, it's kind of like seeing the truth that I need to let this go, because I'm offering love and encouragement and hope and faith to heal. And they try to use the love that I have for them to keep me stuck, repeating an old pattern, because they don't want to do hope and faith and belief and love. And if I want to do hope and faith and love, I have to find other people who are willing to do that. So some relationships are crumbling because it was kind of, it doesn't provide the long-term stability and security. We're not, in order to have a solid, stable foundation, it has to be built on love. Otherwise, you're building it on shifting sand. And we could have thought that people were on the same page as us, and for a long time, they can seem to have been on the same page as us. And in a lot of ways we were, but maybe when it gets down to the core foundational level, and the missing puzzle piece here emotionally is love, that we realize that the reason why some people might have wanted to be in a relationship with us, stay in a relationship with us, it really worked in a lot of ways for them, in the same way it worked in a lot of ways for you. But one person is motivated and inspired to operate from a foundation of love, and the other person isn't. It's more pride, ego, fear, insecurity, codependency, and they're not willing to, in their free will, align with their more hopeful, believing, loving nature. And then they can take action, or they don't want to give up this unequal dynamic in a relationship. Don't want to kind of give up their kind of being slightly more indulged in the relationship. Don't quite want to do equal give and take where they have to value what you bring to the table as much as they value what they bring to the table, and get out of this construct that for some reason whatever it is they bring to the table should enable them to have this more privileged position, you know? And that has been a philosophy of life for them, about how they view life, how they view themselves, how they view people they get in relationship with. So what's coming up for the people who harness some high vibe Taurus energy that they might not see coming up? That's too many. I do not want 8. 1, 2, or 3 is good. The King of Cups and the Page of Pentacles, because of the 5 of Swords. There's going to be some people in the world. The high vibe people are taking action from love to love their own more hopeful, believing inner child nature. And the Page of Pentacles represents all 3 of the earth signs, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. The high vibe people have offered love to their more, we've all got our more immature worldly nature. They have offered love to their own like fearful inner child nature to deal with their mental conflict about the dreams that they want to have come into reality in a worldly sense. And they've calmed their own fears and their insecurities about those dreams that they want to have come into reality. And they say we're going to move forward in truth and love and justice and fairness and act with character and integrity, because that's the way to get our dream to come into reality. And they've learned to like be a good mother, father, coach voice to their own fearful inner child nature, and other people are doing that. And as they see other people moving forward in that way, there's other people who are going to want to invest in you, and you just need to listen to your intuition about who's wearing a false mask just because you look victorious and successful, or you're a loving, nurturing person and they want to be the next person to indulge in a relationship with you. It'd be good for their ego and their image. And who are the people who are being authentic and loving, who've looked at life from a higher perspective, who've also done this work within themselves, are aligned with their more hopeful, believing nature, and ready to move forward in this way with you. Either way, the high vibe people are moving forward to invest in bringing their dreams into reality with the people that are currently in their life, working together with them in a just and fair and loving way. And we keep moving forward, and we hope that maybe some of the other people in our life that aren't living life that way one day will decide to move forward with us in that way. But for now, we have to assume they're not going to be in our life. So we keep moving forward with the people who are. Okay, what's coming up for the people who might harness a more worldly, shadowy Taurus energy that they don't see coming up? We have 4 cards not showing themselves because of the 5 of Pentacles, which is like the victim mentality. Well, for one thing, what some people who are maybe being not choosing to act from love and hope and faith and belief, some of the high vibe people in their life saw the truth of it, and they're detaching from them. And they didn't see that coming. What? You learn to love yourself, but you love me. It's like, yes, I have been offering you love to move forward with me in this way, and you keep refusing to do it. So I am choosing to wish you peace. You can live your life the way you want to live it, but I want to move forward, so I'm going to love myself, to deal with my own mental conflict about going to go find the people in the world who I think are on the same page as me. And they did not see that coming. Another thing that they might not see coming is there is other people in the world that are on the same page as them that will want to be in a relationship with them. So it has to do with these 4 cards here. We have the Ace of Cups, the Judgment card, the Justice card, and the Ace of Pentacles. The high vibe people were offering them love, but since they were unwilling to detach from an old way of viewing life or something, or be more independent, the high vibe people held themselves accountable. I don't want to keep moving forward in a relationship where I feel left out in the cold because the people I'm in a relationship with really aren't operating from love. And I want the justice I deserve, which is equal give and take from love in a relationship. So I'm going to take the lessons I've learned, incorporate those into my philosophy of life, and I'm going to move forward. And I'm no longer going to offer and emotionally invest in people who think it's just and fair to be more about the world or just offer me these things of the world to stay in a relationship with them, tempting me in my pride, my ego, my lust, my greed, whatever. You know, I want someone who does love. And they might have some other people who are willing to be in a relationship with them. You know, some of those people have lessons to learn. If they're loving people, this whole scenario will play out again. If it's someone who lives their life like them, then they might be someone who they are on the same page with. They just might be people who are also going back and forth, who also didn't want to deal with their fears or insecurities or look at life from a higher perspective. And they're really kind of on the same page, and that's a just and fair relationship. It's unfair for somebody who knows that they don't want to be like more just and fair or emotionally grown or mature in a relationship to try to get someone who is to stay trapped in a relationship with them when they knew they weren't like that person to begin with. But they're hoping if they get someone in a relationship with them, that then even if they do see the truth, that because of their own ego and image, that they'll give up their dreams and stay in it more out of the pride or the ego and the worldly whatever, instead of listening to their own intuition. And then it's like a shadowy, more immature person gets to trap a loving person in a relationship. That's not just and fair. And so we should get out of our more worldly, egoic view of life. We were given our intuition that we deserve to be in just and fair relationships. If people either changed over time or chose to be shadowy, or we find out that they were and they were hiding and wearing a false mask, well, then that was fraud. That person wasn't being truthful to begin with. So there you go, Taurus energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.